we've had other testimony from people who did take notes that there was a discussion about the investigations or what you needed to do, what President Zelensky needed to do in order to get the White House meeting. Do you recall that?
I recall seeing that in Ambassador Taylor's testimony. I believe there may have even been a text message to that effect. And again, it comes down to what are we talking about in terms of these investigations? Because what I certainly understood is we're talking about Ukraine looking into and fighting corruption internally and being convincing about this, presenting the new president and the new team as a change in Ukraine.
Well, you understood that the investigations were Burisma in the 2016 election, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you interpreted those to be okay because in theory they were looking into Ukrainians.
Correct.
Okay. But we can agree, can we not, that the investigations, all the investigations that we're talking about here today were Burisma in the 2016 election?
Correct.
Okay. Now, and what you then amended your testimony today to say is that in retrospect, if you did not realize that the purpose for Mr. Giuliani and President Trump to want the Burisma investigation was for political benefits in digging up dirt or getting some information on Vice President Biden. That's what you learned subsequently, right?
It's correct that I learned about the president's interest in investigating Vice President Biden from the phone call transcript, which came much, much later. From Giuliani, I didn't know that he was actively pursuing this. I did know that he raised this with me directly and I had pushed back on it.
Well, you knew that Ambassador Sondland was pursuing this at the July 10th meeting when he raised these investigations himself.
Well, again, he didn't specify Biden. He didn't specify Burisma, as I recall, either. I understood it to be a generic comment and something, again, not appropriate for that meeting.
Right. I understand. But Biden wasn't mentioned. But you do agree that when investigations are referenced in this context, it is Burisma in the 2016 election, no?
Yes, that's what I understand.
Right. And on that July 10th call, when Ambassador Sondland raised the investigations, he did that in response to a question from the Ukrainians about the White House meeting. Isn't that right?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't catch that.
When you said that Ambassador Sondland mentioned specific investigations at the July 10th meeting in Ambassador Bolton's office. And you said that you thought that was inappropriate.
Yes.
Didn't he make that comment in response to a question from the Ukrainian officials about when they could schedule the White House meeting?
That I'm not sure about. I remember the meeting essentially already being over and then Ambassador Sondland bringing that up.
And in the July 2nd or 3rd meeting in Toronto that you had with President Zelensky, you also mentioned investigations to him,
yes.
right? And again, you were referring to the Burisma.
I was thinking of Burisma in 2016.
Okay. And you understood that that's what the Ukrainians interpreted references to investigations to be related to Burisma and the 2016 election.
I don't know specifically at that time if we had talked to that specifically, Burisma 2016 with President. That was my assumption, though, that they would have been thinking that too.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.